Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to be doing another product knowledge video today. This is a type of video, I'm just guessing from the amount of views, but you guys seem to enjoy these type of videos. I did a couple of videos reviewing the Yeti Go box and the Marsupial Gear Bino Pack, and you guys just ate those up and sent me questions and asked me to do some measurements and things like that. So I was happy to help some others with those questions, and hopefully, this will answer some of the questions you have about this knife company. So let's get right to it. Brazos River Knife Company. It's locally owned and operated by a close friend of mine, Casey Goff. Casey and I have been friends for, I think, about 10 years. We actually worked together for about 7 or 8 years. And I know something that Casey and I have in common is the love for product knowledge. Anytime we would get a new product into the store, the first thing we would do is kind of look it over and share what we thought about it. If we purchased a product, we would use it and then give each other feedback on what we liked or what we did not like about that product. So that being said, I have full confidence that Casey is going to be really detailed with these knives. I know I've been trying to get my hands on one for at least a month now, and he's been super helpful. But he's also said, hey man, I'm covered up with work, and he does not like to put out anything that is not up to his standards. So I've seen his Instagram, I've seen the photos of the knives, and they look really good. I love the name personally. If you've watched my hunting and fishing videos, most of those videos take place on the Nolan River, which is a small branch of the Brazos River. So that name is just really cool to me. And I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of memories with this knife that I'm going to go pick up from Casey here in a second, because it's ready. It's ready to go. So I'm going to go grab that knife. We'll do an unboxing together. I'll share a little bit with you about what he's done, some of the things I asked him to do. He can do pretty much anything you want, any material, any type of grip, any type of blade, things like that. So I had something in mind. I sent him a text asking him if he could do it for me, and he said no problem. So let's see what he's done. Let's go check it out. All right, I've made it back with the Brazos River knife, but before I dive into that, I wanted to share 2 or 3 knives that I use fairly often, and these 2 or 3 knives kind of molded or shaped the idea I had for the knife that Casey has made for me. And starting off with a solid razor knife, this is the Havalon. I like to use this whenever I am working on my bow. That's the main reason. Secondary would be those detailed skinning spots, when you're trying to get in and out. Just need a really sharp knife, and then also cut and thread, working on fine detailed stuff on the bow, tying peeps in or whatever. I've always used a sharp razor knife. So one of the things I shared with Casey is, man, if you can just get me a good steel that's going to be sharp, the sharper the better. And he suggested the 1080 high carbon steel. That's what we went with on the knife that I have picked up from him. So keep that in mind, 1080 high carbon steel. The second knife that I mentioned to Casey was a Essie. This is a knife I like to carry whenever I go camping, or any kind of miscellaneous stuff. This would be the working man's knife here, in my opinion. Survivalist, everyday carry. It's just a solid knife, has a good size to it. That's the main thing I told Casey is, man, I need it to be sharp, but I'd like for it to be about this size. And so he's got me fairly close with the blade, and then also that sheath, being the Kydex sheath, that's something that I asked for. And we'll dive into what he did for me on his knife here in a second. The third knife that I mentioned to him is the Silver Stag knife. This is a knife that I carry often whenever I'm hunting. It's mostly what I use to gut animals, and it's seen a lot of abuse over the last couple of years, but This is what I like to use. And the main reason why I mentioned this to him is the grip. I like how this kind of molds to the hand. And I just mentioned to him, if you can get me something that kind of fits in the hand well, I'm able to maneuver it, then I will be really happy with that. So if it would be, if it was going to be sharp, like the razor knife, if it had the fit of the Silver Stag and the durability of the Essie, I would be really happy with that. And here it is. Let's do our unboxing. My first impression when I met Casey was, wow, he's actually given us a box with this knife. A lot of the times whenever you purchase a knife from an individual, what you get is a knife. So I thought that was a good gesture from him to put it in a package, and then also to put his logo on it. That's one of the things you'll see over and over. He does a really good job of branding. He's got it on his box, and you'll see it a couple other places here in a second. But going back to the box, that's a nice feature, because if you wanted to wrap this, you could wrap it and give it as a gift, and you are ready to go. So you don't have to do anything else from there. But let's dive in. All right, there's the knife. Got a couple of things. First off, you got some stickers with his logo. Like I said, Brazos River. That means a lot to me because that's a local reference, and it's just really cool to have that represented with those stickers. Also, he's got his cards here. On the back, he's got his contact information. So you guys shoot him an email if you want to get a knife custom made for yourself, and I'm sure he will take care of you. But his cards and stickers included. And then also one of the things I really like is he thanks you. So thank you for your purchase. Stay sharp, Casey. So that's just a really nice touch. Again, it's just showing that he pays attention to detail. He has gratitude, and he's thankful for your support. Moving on to the sheath. Kydex sheath is something that I was asking for, if you remember, from the EDC Essie. I really wanted a Kydex sheath, something I could spray out if I need to. It's going to be a little bit more durable for the things I like to do. But you do have the leather straps, which is really nice. And the reason why I say that is because they'll actually stretch to your belt. So if you have a little bit larger belt after you use this for a while, this thing is going to stretch to the size of your belt. That's probably about a 1-inch belt that will fit in there nicely, and it's a cross draw. So as you're walking, you don't have to worry about this thing hitting you in the leg, because it'll actually sit sideways on your waistband. Moving on to the knife. Like I said, guys, this is the 1080 high carbon steel, so it's really sharp. He's told me over and over, hey, be careful, don't cut yourself, because it is sharp. But I just love the wash he has on this. That stone gray, man, it just really looks good compared to that handle. And what that handle is that's Honduran rosewood burl. He's telling me that that's a pretty rare piece of wood. He could probably tell you more about it. I'm not a knife expert, but I love the look of it, to be honest with you. I love how that looks compared to that stone blade, and just that size. If you remember from that Essie, I wanted that size, and I think he nailed it. He really got that size that I wanted. But then also just some of the other features he has here. This grip is Honduran rosewood burl. And when he gets these are solid wood blocks, and he shaves them down, he sands them down, and man, he really hit the nail on the head when it came to the size of this knife. Whenever I said I wanted something like the Essie, I think this thing actually feels a little bit better than the Essie. It's a little bit thicker, and you can see how it's tapered. It's got a slight taper to it. Man, that just feels really good. But the look of it is awesome. Like I said earlier, he's got the 1080 high carbon steel, so that thing will shave some hair. There's no doubt in that. I've got to be really careful with that. He's calling this knife the EDC Drop Point Hunter. So let me get this thing set up, and so you'll have an idea. If you want to make a purchase, you can say, hey man, I like that knife you did for Stetson, and that's called the EDC Drop Point Hunter. you could easily give him that style name, and he'll know what you're talking about. So let me get this thing set up and you'll get a better idea of what it looks like. All right, so we got the knife set up. You can kind of see the thickness of the blade and the grip, kind of the thickness it gives. What I'll do real quick is I'll just kind of grab one of these other knives just to give you an idea. Pretty good job. Like I said, I actually like how his knife is a little bit thicker. It felt better in the hand. And then you can also see the thickness of the blade. That durability on that Brazos River knife, man, it's going to be there for a while. I guarantee you that. But some of the other features that Casey wanted me to note for him is he has a warranty that's going to cover all his manufacturer defects. So I mentioned the thickness of the knife and being able to do what you need to do. If you have any issues with imperfections or you know, if there was a crack or anything crazy that he did when he was making these blades, first off, I don't think he would even allow you to have that knife. He really looks them over before he gives them to his buyers. But if something did get past him, he said he would be more than happy to cover that manufacturer defect. And then one thing to note is I said you could get this same knife, but that's not really true. Every one of these knives is going to have a different look to it because this is all hand forged. This is hand forged. This is handcrafted, the grip. And so, and then on top of that, every wood block is going to have a different look to it. So every knife's going to have a different look to it. Once again, he's doing these by hand. There's no outsourcing. It's a one-man show as of right now. But I think that gives it some value. You know, he doesn't have to really worry about quality control. He is quality control. And so high quality knives, the pricing is really affordable in my opinion. And he is based out of South Fort Worth. So if you're in the Cleburne, Joshua, Burleson, Fort Worth, Glen Rose, you know, Grandview, Rio Vista, anywhere around there, you could easily go see him, you know. You could probably drive your knife over to him if you had an issue and say, hey, will you take a look at this and tell me what you think? And there's a lot of value in that. Hope you guys enjoyed this product knowledge video. If you have any more questions for Brazos River Knife Company, be sure and like them on Instagram, and you can send them a message from there. If you want to purchase a knife from them, I'm sure you can shoot Casey an email, or you can probably get that done on the messaging through Instagram. But hope you get out into the woods and you get to go hunting or fishing. I know here in Texas, we're moving into the month of March, so I'm looking into some kayak bass fishing. That's going to be a good time. As it continues to warm up, that bite should come on really strong. So maybe these next couple videos, you'll see me reeling in a large bass. We'll see what happens. See you guys later.